Right, welcome back to another video of Buck Showalter managing the New York Mets. We've completed one season in this video series, and we made the postseason. We won the NL East, but lost to the Brewers in the NLDS. We won 100 games. The Brewers have won 99. It was a tough series loss, but now we're into the postseason, the off season, and we're going to go through kind of our plan, who's coming back, who's not, who might. Where we might try to make trades. That's all we're going to get into in the first part of this video. So let's start with the lineup. It's a little simpler there. So Perez has an option year for, I think it's $7 million. Yeah, we'll bring him back. He's such a good defensive catcher. Going to be hard pressed to find a catcher at that price who is this good. Now, is his bat good? No, I mean, it looks terrible there, right? But why can't I? Oh, you know what? My scout retired. I should hire a new scout. So that's one thing we're going to do in this video. We're going to look for a new scout to hire. I forgot that I just got the notice that he retired. So, Perez, his bat, does look bad, but he was able to put up an 86 OPS plus. If you can be a bit below league average with the bat, but have one of the best gloves in the game as a catcher, we'll take that all day. Alonso will be back. Guillorme, he'll be back. He is arbitration eligible. I'm not in love with Guillorme, but the infield range is really nice to have as a second baseman, as a backup infielder. But second base, we might look to bring in somebody as a second baseman and push Guillorme to more of a utility role. Of course, that final decision will be up to Buck of where he plays. But second base could be an area look to improve. Correa, who we re-signed to that extension I talked about in the last video, he'll be back. Lindor will be back. Now, the outfield will be interesting, right? I'm adding the DH to the NL because that's going to happen in 2022 in real life anyways. It's funny, the game actually took away the DH in the AL, and I undid that and added it in the NL. So, as of now, Buck is punting Nimmo, Robles, McNeil across the outfield, and Dom Smith as his designated hitter. That would leave Haniger on the bench again. J.D. Davis is on the bench. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do here, but as you're going to see in a second, we're going to need to bring in some pitching. We might try to bring in a second baseman, like I said. So, some of these guys might go. Will it be Dom Smith, Nimmo? I don't think it'll be Robles or McNeil. Haniger. I could even look at trading Pete Alonso if I got back a really good package and put Dom Smith in there, because we're going to need some pitching, and I think we have I think we could have a better constructed team here on offense. I don't really have a great backup outfielder because Haniger's probably either going to be starting or gone because he's just too pissy to be in a bench role. Almora, yeah, I could see bringing him back because he's a center fielder who has good range. He's a good option out there as like a fifth outfielder. McGuire, I don't think will be back. He was absolutely horrendous for us. I should have DFA'd him during the season. So we'll see here. We'll see what happens. I really don't know for sure because there's so many kind of if-then scenarios here that one thing could change our whole path. One thing we do know is we're going to need to bring in starters. So this is the rotation as I see it for now. We've got DeGrom and then Walker and Carrasco, who I'd like to see in the 4 and 5 slots. Carrasco, actually, at this point in his career, I really liked. He was pitching out of the bullpen last year and was good. And, yeah, I kind of prefer that in some ways. Now, he's got another year at $12 million and then a team option. I don't mind him in the rotation, but again, he was coming back he had a strained hamstring, and then he was healthy the rest of the year. Just at his age, I would love him in a setup role. Walker, had a really good season. I don't love Taijuan Walker as a pitcher, but at $7 million, pitching in the back end of the rotation, that's fine. DeGrom is obviously back. Now, Stroman, Gossman, Scherzer, Syndergaard, all free agents. So is Aaron Loop. Stroman had a nice season. The problem is all these guys are just getting older. Stroman is 30 and wants 4 years, 19.25. Not a crazy amount of money, but I just don't know that I'd rather spend more money on an even better pitcher. Gossman could possibly win the Cy Young. I mean, he was that good. But he's 30 and he wants 7 years, $170 million. My plan for a lot of these guys is let them go to free agency and see what happens to their market. I don't plan to give any of them what they're asking before free agency. Scherzer at 37, $21 million a year. He was not the Max Scherzer we know in real life this year in the game. He just didn't have that great of a year. You know what I mean? His 2 WAR and what, like or 0.7 R WAR, just not that great. Syndergaard was hurt for much of the year, then pitched out of the bullpen because he just had ridiculous depth, and he was just deadly as a setup guy. But he wants 9 years, about $20 million a year, with which that average annual value is not bad. But 9 years with what does he want? 9 years with an opt out after 3 years, and then the last 2 years basically as an opt out as player options. Yeah, I don't know about this structure. I could see bringing him back. I really like Syndergaard, and his health status is okay. I could see him being a good starter for us, but not. I don't know that I'm going to pay that price now. Bullpen, all these guys are back. Diaz is going to make like $12 million. I could see possibly moving on from him, even though we are the Mets and we have the money to do it, and he's elite. Lugo, I think, will be back. Trevor May is making like almost $8 million next year. I don't really see the need to pay him that money. Might bring in another option. Castro, Giselman, King, Peterson, they're all pretty cheap, all fairly effective this year. I think they'll all be back. I certainly wouldn't mind adding a dominant arm or two in the setup role. I don't really see any of these guys as setup role worthy. So yeah, we're going to need to bring in a couple starters. Probably going to bring in a couple relievers. Some of that might happen through free agency. Some of that might happen by dealing away some of our offensive depth. We'll see. It's really going to depend on what's out there, what the trade market is, what the free agent market is. I'd rather not spend at the top of the pitching free agent market just because pitching is so volatile, and that word didn't want to come out. And also just injuries, and I just prefer to spread the money around a bit more at pitcher, even though I am the Mets. Now, I say that, I'm totally willing to spend 25 or 30 million or whatever if it's the right deal, the right player, and we've moved out enough salary or we have enough room to do it. And we do have a good amount of budget room. This will change when we get to free agency, but you know, around 60 million, it's a good place to be in. We can even adjust these budgets. We do need to go out and get ourselves a scout here. So why don't we look actually at who is available as scouts? Let's go to personnel, free agent personnel. Scouting director, who is interested? So I always like to, this is our guy right here, Jeff Facero. Legendary, outstanding, highly favors tools, which we love. No experience. Perhaps you all remember him. He was a pitcher. Was he with the Mariners for a while? Who all did he pitch for? I know you guys will let me know. We'll pay him whatever he wants, man. I mean, all right, I'm going to take a little bit off this, Jeff. So, all right, we'll see what he says. Let's just sim ahead a couple days to see if we can get him. So it's the best one he's received. Oh, this guy posted, I have no interest in him. Just want to see Facero accept this contract here. Let's go, Jeff. So the Mariners want to send us this reliever, and they want the guy that we drafted 10th overall this year, who was in rookie ball and was fine as a 19-year-old, but that is an interesting proposal, Seattle. Get the hell out of here. Jeff, are you going to accept our... Did you, come in and not let me know? What's going on? Let's go ahead and accept this offer, buddy. All right, cool. He's there now. So now we can dig into the offseason with Jeff Facero. Is he as low on Perez as OSA? Yeah, just about. Almost. But he's got him at an 80 catcher ability. Wow. So, okay. So I'm going to go through some stuff here. We'll hop back in. I'll show you what I found, what we've done. Welcome aboard, Jeff Facero, our new scouting director. This should be a fun offseason. There's a lot we could possibly do here. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're now at the first day of free agency. First, let's get you caught up on award season. Got a couple gold gloves going to New York Mets players here. Perez behind the dish, and Lindor at shortstop. And best NL reliever was Edwin Diaz. Hicks, Hader, and Hand all got votes as well. Platinum Stick, a.k.a. Silver Slugger awards. NL, you got Cisco with 4.8 WAR for the Orioles. Olsen, Lowe, Ramirez, Bichette, Kyle Tucker, Verdugo, Meadows, and Nelson Cruz at DH. On the NL side of things, Wilson Contreras, Freddie Freeman, Albies, Machado, Lindor, Yelich, Bellinger, Acuna. So no huge surprises there. Wander wins AL Rookie of the Year. Didn't get every first place vote. Kyle Isbell had a nice season apparently. NL Rookie of the Year went to Pavin Smith. Our Buck got robbed for NL Manager of the Year. Dodgers, Dave Roberts. Come on, man. Anybody could win with that team. We got robbed of the Cy Young, too. Corbin Burns. Now, Burns deserved. It was a worthy candidate. But DeGrom also got 8 first-place votes. Gossman, no first-place votes, but came in 4th. And then who was AL Cy Young was Giolito. He got every first-place vote. McCullers, Cole, Paxton, Luzardo, and Kendall Graveman. Like, was he a starter? Or what? Why did he... It was 7-4 with 2 saves. And he put up 2.7 R-WAR and 0.7 WAR. And he got 6 second-place votes for Cy Young. That's a decision. That is a voting decision that was made. Okay. AL MVP, Jose Ramirez, Nelson Cruz, Alex Verdugo, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman. That's a fun group. Wow, Alex Verdugo busting out. Look at him go. Nelson Cruz, 41 years old, put up a mere 144 OPS plus. He hit 65 home runs. I had not noticed that. You guys probably noticed it like on the side of the leaderboard in the standings and were screaming at me to point it out. Maybe that video has already gone up and you've already screamed at me to point it out because I record a little bit ahead. So at this point, maybe you guys have seen that. Wow, 65 home runs from Nelson Cruz. Wow, that's something. NL MVP, of course, was Francisco Lindor. One joker did give Freddie Freeman a first-place vote. Other Mets got votes. McNeil here, DeGrom way down here, and Gossman got 4 second-place votes. So, yeah, that's where it where the award season went. I was just distracted here, but that they have Conforto. Do I have him on like a short list or something? He's a star player. He did go to Houston and tear it up. But yeah, that's strange that he's the only one featured here. So nothing happened with the team. I settled. I had like 12 guys or something scheduled for arbitration. I settled with all of them before, or I signed with all of them, agreed in terms before arbitration, except for J.D. Davis and Mitch Haniger, but they're both back too. I have $67.3 million. Gossman and Syndergaard, I offered the qualifying offer to. They both rejected it. They're both free agents. So we're in the same boat here with pitching. You know, we need some starters. We need some arms in the back end of the bullpen. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. This side of things on offense, you know, still wouldn't mind bringing in a marquee second baseman and pushing Guillorme to a utility role. I think I will still trade one of the bats, maybe J.D. Davis since he's a backup, maybe a bigger bat like Dom Smith or Pete Alonso, or maybe Nimmo, Haniger, you know, to try to fill out the pitching staff. So nothing's happened in terms of those moves. So I'm still in the same spot, but I think I wanted to update you on the awards here at this stopping point, and now we're going to hop ahead here and see how this offseason is taking shape. All right, so I think we found our first blockbuster trade of the offseason here. As you all well know, Luis Castillo, not that as you all well know, but some of you who watch my channel might know that Luis Castillo is one of my favorite players in baseball. So, of course, he was a guy that I checked in on. And the Reds have signed him to an extension, 4 years, a very reasonable $58.7 million. He put up, you know, a WAR of 2.9 last year, 2.4 R WAR. ERA plus and FIP minus were both a touch better than league average. Walks were not great. Strikeout to walk ratio could certainly be much better. Home runs per 9, not bad for the ballpark that he pitches in, his home ballpark at 1. I think coming to New York and pitching in front pitching in a ballpark that's far less homer friendly, and also what I think will be a better defense. I don't know exactly what the Reds defense was in this game last year, but the Reds defense in real life is fine-ish. So yeah, I think this is definitely a guy we want. They're willing to eat 10% of that deal. The price is fairly heavy. J.D. Davis, he had a terrible year for me. I mean, this is a guy who's had some really good seasons here for the Mets before we picked up in real life in 2021. His 2019 was really solid. His 2019 was really good, actually. His 2020 was good. But here for 2021, for me, fell off like a cliff and even got optioned to the minors. Now, he's still got a decent amount of trade value around the league. I think plenty of teams still view him as a starting third baseman. I would keep him around in a utility role if I needed to, but he's got so much trade value. Other teams are willing to give me trade value for him that far surpasses his value to my team now that I've got Correa entrenched as my third baseman. Also, a top 50 prospect, number 49 prospect in baseball, Brett Beatty. I think I'm saying his name right. But, he's a corner infielder. His 60 arm isn't great for third base as it is. He's not going to play the outfield for me. So he's an okay third baseman. He's a first baseman. So that makes me far less excited. Now, the bat could turn out pretty good. He started last year in A and was off to a pretty good start, so I promoted him to high A, and he was like league average for half a season at the age of 21. I think he might turn out to be a major league contributor, but when you can get a guy who's going to be penciled in as your number 2 starter and could be number 1 on many teams, you're willing to give up a guy whose ceiling is limited by the fact that he's just a corner infielder. Then we have 3 pitchers who I can see why they're dreaming on them. OSA is higher on this guy, Joshua Corneli, than my scout. If he develops, he could be a decent player. He's only 20. Dayson Acosta, same thing. I can see it. He's got 3 above average pitches. He's 23. Maybe they can find something out of him. Atanez, that control is going to be a problem, but it's another player who OSA is higher on than my scout. He's 24, so I'm not too concerned about it. I think any 3 of these guys, if the Reds do their thing with player development with them, they could potentially be major league pitchers. But none of them are locks. None of them are sure things. None of them are really solid prospects. Beatty and Davis, I'm sure, will play in the major leagues for the Reds in this sim for an extended period of time. And Davis, I would think, will bounce back. And he'll go to Cincinnati, which is a much more homer-friendly park. And as a pull hitter, not a fly ball hitter. I thought maybe he would be. But, I'm sure he'll have a good bounce-back season. But Luis Castillo means way more to us than this package of 5 players. So we're going to complete that trade. And the fans are pumped. Cool. Thank you, fans. So, now we go in and we put Castillo on our squad. Hello, welcome to New York, Luis. We're happy to have you. And, you pencil him in as your 2, and that rotation all of a sudden looks a lot better. Now, what are we going to do from here? Well, we still have $63.48 million to spend. And, the more that I think about it, the more that I think maybe we should go after Kevin Gossman. You put Gossman in that rotation behind DeGrom and behind Castillo, who we just traded for. That's looking pretty nice. Now, I don't want to pay him $25 million a year for 7 years. We'll see if he can make that a little bit more reasonable for us. I think another option would be to bring in Verlander, who missed all of last year with an arm injury. He's older. He's still not recovered from the arm injury. He's still got another 8 weeks. This low movement sucks. Extreme fly ball sucks. I see a lot of home runs coming, but you're in New York where it's not quite a totally home run friendly ballpark. It's below league average in terms of home runs, and he's got great stuff, great control, 5 awesome pitches. I don't know why I said 3. And he only wants 1 year, $11 million. I think this might be a risk worth taking. And then he could come in. It would push maybe Carrasco to the bullpen to be in a setup role. I think that takes care of a couple problems. So I honestly think I might throw offers out. I might get into the bidding for Gossman, and I might make a run at Verlander. I think I'll keep tabs on the Syndergaard. I don't know why he's still listed as a relief pitcher. I guess because he ended the year as a reliever for us. I'll keep tabs on this too. The average annual value here is not scary, but the length is. So that's where it's at. We'll deal with second base and replacing J.D. Davis in a backup role. We'll get to all those. I think priority A is still bringing in more pitching.
All right, so now it's about the end of January 26th, and oh my, things have changed. Kevin Gossman has re-signed. We got him for 4 years, $93.5 million. The last year's a $25 million player option. Got a couple incentives there, bonus potential. So yeah, this was the first thing I threw his way. Again, I think I just showed it early in this video, but what he wanted 7 years, I think $25 million AAV. So I might have been able to go lower on the average annual value because he did accept this right after I threw it to him. But I didn't think there was any way he was going to go for 4 years. So that's why I tried to keep the value up. And, he finished somewhere fourth, I think, in Cy Young. He got MVP votes. Maybe this will blow up. Maybe it's not going to work out, but he pitched really well with our team in our park with our catcher in front of that defense. So I'm optimistic about bringing him back. He's not really our number one starter. It's just that I have to force play him as a starter or Buck puts him in the bullpen, which this guy almost won a Cy Young last year. Get out of here, Buck. And then we also brought in Verlander. We'll see how this works out. But we got him on a 1 year, $9 million deal. I am actually just learning now that he has a bonus of 1.1 million if he pitches 160 innings. Totally. Sometimes I don't scroll down to some of those bonuses and stuff, and oops. And he also has a no trade clause, I guess, because he would consider a trade to Houston. So also didn't realize what that meant, but I don't really care. $9 million deal, and it might not work out. I think, like I was just saying, this movement, extreme fly ball, 38 coming off the arm injury, there's some risk there, but the upside at $9 million is huge. Could potentially be a top of the rotation guy for us. So we'll see. There are some other names here that I'll get to, but we made another blockbuster trade, and it's for a hitter. And if you remember, I had Mitch Haniger as my fourth outfielder, really a starting worthy outfielder. And he was really pissed about it. So I wasn't going to bring him back. I wanted to get some value for him. And I shopped him around, and there were some okay trades out there, but eventually I was just I was mainly looking for second baseman. And eventually I was just I'm just going to have to deal him for some prospects that might be, upper level of the minors that could contribute, be 40-man roster guys. So I waited around, and then I shopped him, and I did all infielders is what I shopped for under the shop a player tool. And here, I'll show you what I mean. Player trade, shop a player. So yeah, you pick it here. And I looked for all infielders that were available, and it was a bunch of just kind of run-of-the-mill guys nobody's too interested in. But then there was one name that popped up, drum roll please, and it was Corey Seager. So he's going to learn how to play second base, and he's going to be great at it by the end of spring training. And so I'll show you the full trade in a minute, but it's basically Haniger for Seager. They had just re-signed him to a 5-year deal worth $157 million. He has an opt-out after this year, and I'm assuming he'll probably opt out. I don't care, though. We've got another elite player on our squad. This is the kind of trade that maybe if this was a long-term sim that I was doing, I might feel like it was a little cheesy, and I'd have second thoughts about doing it. All the other players that were offered for Haniger, dozens of them, were nothing special and nothing interesting. And then for some reason, the Dodgers, one of those things that out of the park AI teams will do sometimes, they just wanted to be rid of this salary of this contract they had just signed. So they also gave us Tommy Kahnle, who will be in our bullpen, which is awesome, who I think they had just signed. Signed as a free agent. Oh, no, the year before. Okay, got it. Where'd that go? Hold on. I just lost my place there. I heard my daughter upstairs waking up from her nap. Okay, so let me go back to that trade. That's where I was. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to let you guys hear that. Maybe you'll even hear her in the background. So we got Seager and Canely. Seemed like they wanted to be done with Seager's salary that they signed like 2 months before. We traded Haniger, who they have as their starting DH now, who's coming off a down year. And I wish the back button didn't work like that, like I always say. And we also gave up this guy, Willie Tavares, who is a 24-year-old minor league pitcher who pitched in A-ball last year and doesn't look like much of anything useful. The Dodgers then went out and signed Nelson Cruz to play in their left field, but they have Haniger as their DH here. Let me show you the Dodgers. It's just kind of silly what they did, but benefited us. So yeah, they've got Cruz in left field, Haniger at DH. They signed Jose Iglesias too at $17 million a year, so they're saving some money over Seager. And the Cruz deal was 3 years, $60 million. One of them's an option year. I think they signed some relievers. Yeah, they signed Iglesias. I think maybe they signed Yates. Yeah, so they splashed a bunch of money around after they got rid of the Seager salary, but still not quite sure why they did that. Doesn't really make much sense, but we'll take it. I made some other trades as well. Let me go ahead. So here we're in January. So let me go back to, let me just make sure we covered all this. Yeah, there's the trade for Luis Castillo at the end of November. And then December, there's Gossman. We lost Reed Foley in the 5-man draft or in the Rule 5 draft. We made the trade for Seager and Canely. We brought in Verlander. And then let's go forward to January. Let's go down here. So we traded Trevor May because basically once we made the Seager trade, we only had $1 million left. I've now got it to where we have $9.8 million. So we traded May because he was making $7.75 million, and I thought that he was just replaceable. He's a decent reliever, good reliever. We traded a couple minor leaguers too, who I don't really see as future pieces. That guy's a 21-year-old pitcher. Maybe it'll work out. But it was just a salary dump basically. We got this minor league guy who's in Double-A who'll probably never be much better than that. Tyler Carr, I could see the 65 movement, 65 changeup ground ball pitcher. I could see him being like a fringe 40-man guy, kind of like AAA bullpen guy that comes up when you need a fresh arm or you have an injury, maybe. But that was just a salary dump. Then I signed Jason Castro to a $1.2 million deal. I don't really know why I did this other than I was just over Reese McGuire, who's actually better than Castro and was making less. But he was just so bad last year with his 45 WRC+. So I just wanted to try somebody new. So I traded McGuire as well as a couple prospects. I'm fine trading that guy. He's 24. This guy's only 20, but I didn't really see a huge future for him. But I got two very usable pitchers. And again, we moved salary out because McGuire was on a major league deal. We got back two pitchers and the Pirates retained 100%. Nick Mears is a guy who, could pitch out of our bullpen, but he's got option years. He's got an option year left. And then Sam Howard is a lefty, which we needed more lefty arms on our 40-man. And he's got an option year left as well. So they're both kind of guys who might make the team, but will be our first kind of arms up when we need them. When we need to make a replenish our bullpen. And then we signed Andrew Miller because we needed a lefty. We don't have many lefties in our pen. And I tried looking at trades. It was just crazy prices. like I talked about, I think in an earlier episode, to get a lefty reliever. So Miller's in. He'll be in our bullpen. Hopefully at 36, he will not fall off a cliff. And then the Rays, for some reason, were looking to trade Nick Anderson, who, as an extreme fly ball pitcher, those always worry me. But, he only pitched 13 and a third innings last year. I don't know if he was hurt. Oh, he's down the minors some too. He must have been hurt too. They go 4 home runs per 9. I think that'll regress a bit. But with that stuff and this fastball and slider, I think we can get away with this extreme fly ball in our stadium. I generally stay away from extreme fly balls when I'm in home run friendly parks, but hopefully that works out well for us. We got back 2 other guys. Yeah, this guy who looks like a depth piece who will probably, I'd imagine, be in like AAA, AA, and another like depth-ish type guy. We traded a guy who they really wanted who, he is only 20 and he's got he's already got 2+ pitches and he's on his way to getting a 3rd+ pitch. He at least has 2+ pitches and a usable changeup, even if the changeup doesn't get better. He put up 2.2 WAR as a 19-year-old in A-ball last year, and I don't know. I was just willing to do it because I don't think he's a future stud. Now he's only 20; he could develop into a stud, but right now his ceiling is not a stud. Although he put up a really good year in A-ball, but Nick Anderson is a guy who could potentially be lights out of our bullpen, and I felt like we needed a better bullpen. So where does that leave the club now? Let me ask Buck for all our lineup. So, Perez, we've got Smith at first base, Seager, Correa, Lindor finishes out the infield, Nimmo, Robles, McNeil, and then Alonso is the DH. Backup infielder is Guillorme. And then we've got Albert Almora Jr. And let me look at so I think we'll have to bring in an outfielder because I don't think Khalil Lee is ready for the show yet. I think we'll probably sign an outfielder, like a fourth outfielder type. Maybe a guy with a bat because Almora's here for his glove. And then pitching, it's still kind of being worked out. This will be our rotation. These five, kind of DeGrom, Gossman, Verlander, Castillo, Walker. And then we'll have room for what? 8 pitchers, right? Diaz, Carrasco, Canely, that's 3 locks. I think Lugo, Castro, Anderson, that's 6. And then you want 2 lefties, probably Miller and Peterson. So then you're looking at Mears, Howard, I'm not even going to try to say Thomas's name. I know he's a decent prospect. Giselman, King, and Doval. And King and Giselman, Giselman was really good for us last year. So maybe we'll move out like Castro or something to let some of these guys with options battle it out for the last spot. Because some of them, I do like to have depth, but this is maybe a bit too much because there are a few guys here who should make our team. So maybe I'll trade away Castro to get a little more budget space or something. I don't know. Castro was good last year, but we do have too many righties. So, 2 of these lefties have to make it out of these 4 here. And I think that'll, probably close out the bullpen for us. So that's where we're at now. Very exciting times. This offseason's gone so well with bringing in Castillo, Verlander, and bringing back Gossman. Now, Syndergaard did sign elsewhere. And I really bowed out of keeping an eye on his negotiations once I got Castillo, Gossman, and Verlander. I just stopped paying attention. He signed for a deal that I would have signed him to. It's 7 years, $86 million, which is just, it's 10.5 and then a bunch of years at 12.6. So, I would have brought him back on that. I don't like the 7-year term, but that average annual value is so reasonable that I probably would have brought him back if I had realized how low his value had dipped. So we get the compensation pick for him. Stroman hasn't signed anywhere yet, so we don't have that compensation pick yet. But I'm feeling good. I want to tinker with the bullpen a little bit. I just don't like the way it all fits together. I feel like we have a lot of really good arms. Lugo and Castro, they're both good, but they're not like bullpen aces. And I kind of want to stack this bullpen a little more. So we'll see what I do there and who I bring as the backup outfielder. So I don't know if anything else major is going to change, though, unless I decide to go out and get like an ace catcher, because that's a term, right? Ace catcher. This 80 catcher ability would be hard to beat, but if I could get like a 70 or 75 catcher ability, get an elite catcher, maybe I'll do that. I don't think a lot else will happen, but I'm going to skip ahead now. Maybe we'll go to opening day. Let's see. Did I say I was done making crazy trades? Well, JT Real Muto is our catcher now. I decided, Perez, this 80 catcher ability is great. He put up 2.2 WAR. 86 WRC plus, which, as you'll see, isn't too much worse than what JT did last year, but it's JT Real Muto. I think he'll bounce back from this 2.4 WAR with a 93 WRC plus season. We gave up a lot to get him because we couldn't really afford him. So, how much of his salary? The Phillies are paying 60% of his salary the rest of the time. We gave up a couple of our better prospects. The headliner was Matt Allen, who is the number 22 prospect in baseball. You can see he's just 20, and he's already got a plus fastball, great curve, solid changeup. These ratings not as good at this point, but with a good work ethic, 20 years old, I think he's probably going to be a really good pitcher. But as we all know, there's no such thing as a pitching prospect. Just last year, he missed pretty much the whole season with a torn labrum in his shoulder, so that's concerning, certainly. Didn't mean to go off his page. Oh, fun. Let me take us back here. But just a guy, he's a top 22 prospect in baseball. We'll see where he is next year when the rankings come out. But he was pitching really well in high A. He had a 1.37 ERA in 8 starts. So then I promoted him to double A, and he put up a 1.54 ERA in 2 starts and then got hurt. So this is a dude who could quickly make his way to the majors. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him. Who else do we go up? The next guy, headliner, was Khalil Lee. And Khalil, I don't think was any more a top 100 prospect. Oh, it doesn't have anything right here. He was at one point. He was a top 200 prospect for sure. And he's a real life prospect. He's been, I can't remember the trade that he was involved in real life. Is it on here? But he was involved in a real life trade from the Royals as a part of a 3-team trade. You guys will remember what that is. I can't remember what the trade was, but he was already traded. He's a Mets prospect in real life after coming up with the Royals. He had a very good season in Double A with a 120 WRC plus, 2.8 WAR, but basically he's a corner outfielder, and he's not an elite bat. He'll be a solid starting corner outfielder for years to come, I would say. But that's a commodity that I don't consider all that valuable. And if you can get back an elite catcher, you trade a solid corner outfield prospect. Come back to me, Khalil. I keep doing the back button. Then we gave up 3 other decent guys. This guy, Stanley Consugra. Yeah, so a lot of teams are interested in this guy. He's 21. He's coming off a very good season in A-ball with the 123 WRC plus. Looks like a decent prospect. And then we also gave up Shervin Newton, who a lot of teams had been interested in. He is coming off a great season in A-ball with a 124 WRC plus and 3.6 WAR. Another guy who's probably going to reach the major leagues. I think basically all these guys I traded could probably reach the major leagues. And then we traded a catcher, Matthew Dyer. Actually, he probably won't make the majors, but he was the last piece. So JT Realmuto is here. We also signed Chris Taylor to a 1-year, a nice $2.69 million deal. I thought he was going to be my 4th or 5th outfielder. Buck has him as my starting left fielder and pushing Nimmo to more of a super utility outfield DH role. But hey, that's Buck's prerogative. Buck also, for right now, has decided he wants Carlos Carrasco in the rotation and Walker in the bullpen. We've got six very good quality starting pitchers, and somebody will get hurt. We'll need them need the depth, but that's how Buck has it lined up right now. But so Realmuto, Smith, Seager, Correa, Lindor, Taylor / Nimmo, Robles, McNeil, Alonso. The Mets are coming to play this year. I hope the rest of the NL East is ready for us.
I did just want to say sorry. At some point, I was just recording like a bunch of little snippets in a row, and at some point my mic switched from my actual mic to just like the built-in mic, and I didn't realize until I'd recorded a few snippets. So sorry for part of this video. The sound was kind of weird. Hopefully it's all right now that I'm back with the mic. I don't know if the sound levels are going to be uneven for you guys, but that's what's going on if things sound funky in this video. So we're up to March 1st now, and spring training starts in 3 days. I did want to point out that Max Scherzer signed with the Orioles, and his market really tanked. 2 years, $8.6 million a year, and he's actually got to start 25 games for the second year to vest. So maybe we'll bring him back at the trade deadline again. Maybe he'll have that kind of year where we can bring him back. He really wasn't bad for us. 16 starts, 1.1 WAR. Over a full season, if he's healthy, you're looking at around 2 WAR, a little bit more, which is right about league average. The ERA plus and FIP minus were right about league average. So we could have brought him back, but there just really wasn't the need with the other avenues that we went. We've got Taijuan Walker in our bullpen, and we have pretty good pitching depth, and we didn't need to spend that money on Max, nor do we really have the money at this point with $5.54 million. We'll see if we move out money at some point. Certainly this could hinder us if we want to make big trades at any point, but we'll figure that out. So it's March 1st. Spring training is about to begin. So the long and successful postseason is over, off-season is over. I would call us the off-season champs, which obviously means we will also be the World Series champs. It's written in stone. We're going to win. So we will be back with the next video. And by we, I mean I, and you all will be there. So we will be back in the next video. We'll be up at opening day. We'll go over the preview of the season, any other changes I made. I keep saying, I don't expect to make many more trades, and I trade for like Corey Seager and JT Realmuto. This time I really don't anticipate it, but we shall see. You never know. You never know. So we will get into season 2 of the Buck era next. Pressure is on Buck now. I mean, this is a team that could very well win the World Series. Anything less is going to be a disappointment. So thank you all for watching. I will talk to you in the next video. See you then.